I'm here to discuss the so-called flying saucers. There have been a certain percentage of this volume of reports that have been made by credible observers of relatively incredible things. It is this group of observations that we now are attempting to resolve.
Hello pals, welcome back to the channel. So, I've had time for a sleep and a shave, and I thought I would do a little video describing my experience at the Contact UFO International Congress event that was held in Madrid. We were contacted by Joaquin Cot and Marta Vilches, the organisers over on UAP Files, and we did a great interview with them. We'd already interviewed a couple of the speakers there, and so the next step was to go to the event, meet some of the people, and what you're about to see is some of the sights, sounds and experiences that I had there. So I hope you enjoy it, and if you do and want to see more of this sort of stuff, then give that subscribe button a tap and all that cheesy stuff, and let's get into it. So the adventure began with a brutal alarm in the morning, followed by a red-eye taxi off to the airport, and gave us a little time to wonder about what we were going to be experiencing. Neither of us, I mean, obviously my mum had never been to a UFO conference before, but neither had I, and so we weren't really sure what to expect. But we did know that Joaquin and Marta were very friendly people and had complete faith that anything that they'd invited us to would be something that we'd enjoy. So, all bags sorted and a podcast shoved into a rucksack, we were ready to roll. So whilst Mum kept one eye on the window looking for UAP, I kept myself busy being a massive nerd and playing video games. The next thing we knew, after a very short flight, we were pulling into Madrid airport. So being a bit of a country boy, I was very relieved to find out that the hotel was right next to the venue, and the venue was amazing, the Matadero in Madrid. It used to be essentially the city's slaughterhouse where all the farmers would bring their bulls and pigs and everything for processing, but it's now been repurposed as a centre for arts and culture, with some amazing exhibitions, great places to grab a coffee, and all sorts of things to see and experience. So we found the venue, we met the amazing team, and after a good conversation and a little bit of help setting up, we were ready for day one, and really looking forward to what this event was going to bring. What was immediately apparent was that this was a truly international event with speakers from all around the world, and despite the fact that we'd already spoken to Mercedes and Sisto on the UAP files, we really didn't know these people's stories, and it would be really interesting to me to find out how these different cultures interacted with this global phenomena. So, after we'd all got set up and slept, with a warm welcome from Joaquin, he kicked the day off on stage in great style, welcoming everybody to the event, and we got things underway. Even from when the first speaker, Christian, started speaking, who's now best friends with Mum, by the way, it was apparent to me that we had such a lot to learn and such a great experience here to meet other people from this community. There was people representing ex-policemen, Eva was a doctor who's now an investigator and a medium, other people from multimedia, YouTube, television. It really was a melting pot. Miguel here gave an amazing talk on USOs with cases that I'd never heard of. The amazing Mercedes was given a history of Russia and its involvement in the phenomena, and we hit it off really, really well. I even got a little souvenir from Mercedes, which I absolutely treasure. At the end of each half of the day, there was a round table event where these speakers could share their experiences with the audience and get some really good question and answers. So here's our review of the first day. Right, so we've just got back in from day one of the Contact Congress event, and it's been a wild ride. It started at 9 a.m. this morning. It's currently 5 to 11. And couldn't have seen this one coming. So
not even me.
No, exactly, yeah. So, what were your highlights of the day? Because it's been amazing. As a sort of overview, we've had complete all access areas to it. So I've been interviewing people in the backstage area. We've been hanging out with the organisers a lot. We've been spending time with all the guests. We had lunch with all the speakers. So it's been an extraordinary experience. So, but we've not always been together because we've just been bumping off and talking to people all day. So, what were some of your highlights? I know you've made a lot of friends.
I've never stopped hugging people all day, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And if you come to Spain, do not try and give a Spanish person a hug. They're going to hug you for a minute. They're probably going to get emotional because they definitely feel with their energy. I've met Mercedes Pullman, who was incredible. I didn't know who she was. She was awesome. I just thought, oh, she's a little bugger. And I said, she's definitely somebody that needs to be, she's just full of fun and life and bubbly and somebody you could be best friends with. So I loved her. Marta and the team have worked so hard. I've adopted Marta's mum. Marta's one of the organisers. Mum's amazing. I mean, it's a cliche, but I loved everybody. There wasn't anybody I didn't like.
And you made friends. You've been invited on a YouTube channel.
I have indeed.
Tell me all about that.
I have indeed. Well, two, in fact. I haven't told you about the other one.
Okay.
But I've met some lovely people. I've given messages to quite a few people, which I didn't expect. A lovely guy who was a speaker today, Christian. I probably pronounce his name wrong. I apologise. Puig or Puig. Who looks like he's come out of El Divo. So speaking to him is not a hardship.
He was in a fancy suit. Mum fell for him, but yeah.
I didn't fall for him. He's just a handsome boy, and I appreciate that.
Okay.
And his handsome brother, and he's also a handsome cousin. So it was really bad having to have a little chat with them. And I was saying to them, oh, you should meet Tom because he's from UAP Files. Yeah, we know about them. We have a big YouTube channel. I thought, okay. They're staying in the same hotel. So we had a wee chat. And they announced to me that I have now 3 new friends. So I gave them a big hug and told them that we are now the 3 Musketeers because there's 4 of them.
Anybody else you want to add to the list of wonderful?
Well, obviously
things?
there was some great speakers there, but I was as impressed. I was as impressed with the normal people that were there. Joaquin, who is the organizer, the main dude. But also his lovely son, who's also called Joaquin.
Yeah.
And he and I had a nice chat.
He's been a translator for me all day and done a phenomenal job.
Well, there you go. And I could see, I thought he was a really nice guy. And I was asking him what it was like being the son of Joaquin Sr. and going through all of this, and had he experienced anything. So he told me all about everything he'd experienced, which is very, very interesting. When Tom needed to do a surprise interview with somebody, a quick interview, it was suggested that he could translate, and he did not a bad job at all for his very first attempt, especially when it was somebody that he was a little bit impressed with and in awe of.
Yeah.
I think he did a great job.
So after thunderstorms on day 1, day 2 was started with beautiful sunshine, and I was really looking forward to the second day, having a little bit more of a grip of the things I could do and the people to speak to on this day. So the first speaker of the day was Larry Warren, who was a witness at Rendlesham Forest, and he was there to promote his new film. We ended up spending quite a lot of time with Larry, given that we were English speakers and he now lives in Liverpool in the UK, so despite not managing to do an interview together, we did spend a lot of time having conversation, and I think I found out everything I need. Next up was the legendary Sisto Paz Wells, who we've spoken to on the UAP Files. This guy really is a superstar, and it's fair to say he made quite an impression wherever he went. and it was fantastic to meet him again. And next up was Mark Bethmon, who is, despite us not knowing a word in each other's languages, we got on so well, and there's an interview to come in the future. He's had an absolutely extraordinary and inspiring encounter. A great man. The rest of my afternoon was spent either doing interviews or, even weirder, being interviewed for other people's podcasts. I met some fantastic people, from the Mysterious Paranormals podcast to Walter from UAP Education, who's a firm friend after meeting him for that first day. And I got some great interviews in the bag. Legendarily, Mercedes came back, and I met Julia, who is a 3-generation contactee. But it was fantastic, and it was really interesting meeting other people from different podcasts in the skin and seeing what brought them into this field. And that pretty much brought the second day to a close. So we went off to the hotel, collected our thoughts, and wondered about how lucky we were to be involved. So after 2 days of meeting amazing experiences and investigators from around the world, I have to say it's really changed my perspective on this phenomena. I am self-confessed addicted to YouTube and finding out all the latest news and secrecy and revelations from the US and the UK studies into this. But this thing is affecting people all around the planet, and there are so many stories, accounts, and peoples and experts that we just don't see in the English-speaking language. And I think there's a real need to cross-pollinate with some of the amazing research that these people have been doing all over the place. I kept hearing people telling honest experiences that they'd had, which had almost identical parallels in the America. The USOs, for example, some of the accounts of like Kevin Day and Ryan Graves were echoed almost perfectly in some of the things that have already happened in Spanish waters. So that must be worthy of investigation, as it's more collection of data. Interestingly, though, when I would say, oh, this is just like Hal Puthoff or Chris Mellon, most of the people I was talking to would say, who? And that's no reflection on their ignorance of the subject. It just shows that we're so focused on the American narrative that we're really missing out on a much bigger piece of data around the world. I did manage to squeeze in a little bit of being a tourist in Madrid, as you should. And whilst we took in a coffee, met Walter from UAP Education for lunch, which was fantastic, we then took in a dinosaur exhibition. So here's a few bonus shots from there. We've made some amazing friends over this event, and after some fond farewells with Joaquin and Marta, it really became apparent to me that you just can't beat meeting people, looking them in the eye, and swapping experiences. There's some fantastic stories out there, and events like this make that possible. So thank you so much for inviting us, and we'll see you on the next one.